Hello everyone, it's Naomi Meredith here for another episode of the STEMTech Co Show. I am a former classroom teacher turned current K-5 STEM teacher, and I love helping teachers navigate STEM and technology in their own classrooms. Today is a topic that you can use all year long, and it's how to start a makerspace. And I was definitely in your shoes before. I had no idea how to start a makerspace, so I tried a few different strategies, and these top 5 tips are going to help you out, the same ones that I used in my classroom. It's a lot easier than you think. Don't feel overwhelmed. It's super simple, and you can get this all done by the end of the week. So if this is something you've always wanted to do, you definitely can do it. So let's get started with these top 5 tips. The first thing, before you even end up collecting materials, is to determine the space that you want your makerspace to be in. This will help you gauge how much you can actually collect. I feel like I've seen spaces that have done this very well, and they're very contained, they're clean, they're organized, and I've seen others where it's just been blown up in their room and it looks like a trash heap. So really planning for that space and where you want everything to be stored is super helpful. In my classroom, I have drawers that line the walls, so there's a couple spots for things just based on my space, and my students grab and go with materials, meaning they grab what they need and then they go back to their seat or the floor to create their project. I've also seen maker spaces where the students actually work in that space and the materials are all there for them, and then they work on their project in that area. So just knowing your classroom, the furniture, what kind of projects you're thinking you might do in the future, that will help determine your space as a whole. And there's no wrong way. It's just thinking about what your room actually is like. From there, thinking about your space, how do you want to store materials? And thinking about that storage, the goal is really to have the kids be independent in that space by grabbing materials and also cleaning up. So when you're thinking about the storage, you don't want to make it too complicated because it's kids using that space. So if you do have buckets and bins, are they easy to open? Are they drawers that they can pull out or take out all the way and then put back later? I would make it as simple as possible, again, because it is for the kids, but that storage of how things can be accessed easily. It's easy to get to. They don't depend on you opening up anything. That can really help your makerspace experience for everybody. Once you have figured out your storage, definitely having labels is super helpful. Now you're like, they can tell what it is. Trust me, when you find random things in the classroom as a teacher, or when kids find random things, it's so much easier to have labels on everything. And it takes some time to create those and all that, which is totally fine. But when you create those labels, I definitely recommend having a picture, like a real picture of what is in there, and then the words. This is great for all learners, like English language learners, students who need visual supports, Miss Meredith. So it's good for everybody, just so you can quickly see what goes in that container and you can put it away. I also recommend creating labels that can be added and taken away quite easily. So if you use Velcro, that can be really helpful, so the labels can be changed out. So if you get things that are donated in bulk, you can have multiple drawers with the same item. Also, when things are low and they're empty, that way you could take the label off and then change it with something else. So something like that, you could use little clear pockets, which is really helpful, but that's really helped as well when I have multiples of things, or I'll combine some smaller items in a bin, like buttons, googly eyes, and beads. I'll have 3 labels there if I just have a smaller amount at the time. So having interchangeable labels is really helpful, but of course, definitely put those visuals and the words. Now, once you are ready, and I don't know how to count, so this is number 4, this is not number 5. Once you have your space all organized, the storage system you want to use, and then have things labeled, and you can create the labels and then maybe wait to see what you get, is to start collecting. Now, the cool thing about a makerspace is majority of the stuff in your makerspace is recycled materials. So families are usually more than willing to collect things for you at home because it doesn't cost them anything. So when they make their mac and cheese for the kids, they can put the box in the kids' backpack to bring to school. So that's like a really great benefit because they are using recycled materials. You're helping the environment. You're bringing new life to those things. So parents will definitely can collect those things. There's other things that are consumable that you may have to purchase but are very inexpensive, like pipe cleaners, popsicle sticks. Those are really great to have as well. So creating a donation letter is super helpful that you can send out digitally, post on your classroom website, you can print it out and all of that. I also collect things for my classroom, and so I have a little trash pile, I like to call it, collecting here in my office. So one of those little bins behind me, I actually have cardboard and all that I'm collecting for my students, and then I'll bring that into school. So I add to my makerspace collection. So for number 5, this is the true number 5, is to upkeep and refresh. It can definitely get out of hand quickly. So if you are a classroom teacher, you could do this actually if you're a STEM teacher as well, is have a job for a couple kids that their job is to organize and go through the bins at the end of the week. You don't necessarily need to do this every day. You can, but I just thinking about time, have someone be in charge of going through all the bins, changing out labels if needed, replenishing materials, and then if there's anything that you need, to send out a note to let the kids know, hey, let's bring this kind of stuff in. That way it's a clean and organized space. I don't mind making messes in my classroom. I don't care as long as it's cleaned up and everything has a home at the end. So definitely upkeep and refresh. Now, if you're wondering, well, what in the world, I give you some ideas of what things you can put in your makerspace, but if you're like, I'm not quite sure, or can you show me some pictures? If you check out my website, naomimeredith.com/makerspace-start, I have pictures from my classroom and examples of how things are organized in my room, as well as a donation letter that is 100% editable. So this is the actual letter that I send out to families. I also post this letter on a donation box that's outside of my classroom door and also at the front of the building so that other families can contribute as well. Also, one thing that's really helpful is if you send out an email to any staff members, like I needed bubble wrap for a project and I was running low, sent out a quick email, and then the next day 3 people brought in bubble wrap for me. So super helpful to have a letter on hand that you can edit and quickly send out whenever needed. So definitely check that out on my website. If you want to get in touch with me a different way, definitely comment below. I read those comments. I get notified of those, so that's super helpful. As well as Instagram, it's at @NaomiMeredith_, or you could send me an email, contact@naomimeredith@gmail.com. So hopefully this helps you feel less overwhelmed on how to start a makerspace in your room, and I will see you guys for another episode of the STEMTech Co Show. Thanks for watching.